on YouTube. Hold on. Let me turn that Hamajama off. All right. Kufar Akbar, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cross and the Crescent discussion group. We are here every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Not here on Tuesdays anymore. That's just got to be just a little too much, doing 2 shows a week for the past 3 years, or however long it was. It was quite a while. So we've kind of backed it down to 1 show a week, but we're still going to try to keep it at 2 hours, sometimes more, sometimes a little less, especially since I have church at 6 o'clock. But the pastor says he forgives me for not being there on time, because a lot of times they're singing hymns at the beginning of the service, and when they're singing hymns at the beginning of the service, they really don't need this guy singing, because I can't sing to save my life. Was somebody saying something? Darcy, was that you? Who was that?
Can you take down that whatever notification up?
Yeah, let's take it down, please.
Oh yeah, that guy posted that as soon as I logged into the room. He posted that, and
the point is that
here's my reply to him. Yeah, that was my reply. Anyway, sorry, I didn't. I forgot to take that down. What do we got here going in private chat? What are you guys doing back over here? Holy cow! You are really. Oh, look who showed up. Good luck with that one. Okay, so today we've had the topic chosen for us, and I've purposely titled the show Islam's Blind Spot. And of course, Adam Seeker sitting in the chat, he goes, which one? I mean, they got like 500. Okay, all right. And so of course, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about Aisha and the age of Aisha today. And the reason why we're doing that is because of some serious allegations have been made against our brother Radical Moderate this week by the usual suspects, of course. Saying that he is a sex offender, a pedophile,
2-time convicted sex offender.
2 times, right. Not just once, but twice. He didn't learn his lesson the first time.
Yeah, a thief, carjacker. I'm an all around scumbag, dude. Tell you what, yeah. So.
Well, we weren't going to let the other stuff out about your record, Mr. Allen.
Right.
We were going to keep that at the down low. It was just on the. Because Muhammad did rob other caravans too, so that might be
caravan robbery. Yeah. What are the cars?
Okay, so now this is where I'm thinking that maybe you are a convert because you're trying to follow the Sunnah, and you shouldn't be doing that. You should not be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, but the bottom line is that I was tagged and included on several emails and messages on all of this. All insisting that they have the goods on Rad. We got a picture of him, his mugshot, and we know where
we got screenshots.
Yeah, yes. And so I got involved in it, and I swore that I would
diabolical.
I would stay away from it. I promised myself I'd stay away from it. But when I started looking at how awful some of the things that they were saying about Rad, I thought, okay, let me just shoot off an email to see if I can draw this screenshot out. And so I asked several questions, and I admit it, the questions were purposely worded so they would think.
You left out something. He sends me on Skype message because he woke up at 4 a.m. to go to school, but the school was canceled. Remember?
Oh yeah, that was a great day.
Yeah.
You ever get a snow day, Paul?
Oh yeah, I love snow days.
Yeah, and it's not snowing. We had a snow day, but it didn't snow.
We had that. Yeah, whenever they cancel ahead, it always doesn't snow.
Yeah.
He wakes me up at 4 o'clock in the morning with the Skype message. I think he even called me till I wake up, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's good. Send it." And I went back to bed. So when I say you're following the script that we wrote for you, we really mean it. Can I take it from here? Because
let me say a couple more things about this, and then I'll let you go. Give you a second here. So the bottom line is that last night? It was last night. A certain individual who is known as being a disgraced police officer from Georgia did a live stream. Was that last night that he did that, or was that the night before?
No, that was like a week. No, it was a couple. No, was it? No, it was Friday. It was Friday
Almost
night.
a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we did the spy stream. No, he did 2.
Yeah,
But that's
okay.
what
And then he
the
did
one-
it.
yeah.
He pulled that one down,
Yeah.
did another one. So I sent all 3 of them. I said, look, you guys just need to stop. You come to the show today and we'll provide conclusive proof that this is just a false allegation. And that's what Rad's going to do. The bottom line is, what is going on here? Isa, do I have it on here? No, I don't. The bottom line is that this allegation is completely false. That he is he is an offender. I mean, he has assaulted people and he has offended people. I mean, that's who he is. But he hasn't done it to little kids. And when he gets done, that's exactly what we're going to focus the show on. So, Rad, where is your... Oh, no, this is you. This is your screen. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I thought that was him coming, because I did send him the StreamYard. I did send him the StreamYard link, and I thought that was him sitting in there. All right. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead. You got 10 minutes.
All right. Actually, this is also a message for the school board at Eric's school, as well as the principal and everybody this guy has been contacting for the last 3 or 4 months. I do apologize for this, but this is what we're dealing with. This is the guy that's been calling. This is the guy that's been sending you the emails. This is him. His name is Charles Doyle. He's a disgraced ex-police officer. He just didn't get fired from the police department. He actually had his police powers permanently removed. He cannot practice law enforcement anywhere in the United States of America. That's how severe this punishment was, okay? Like I said, his name is Charles Doyle. He was kicked off the force for assaulting a handcuffed juvenile in the back of his squad car, and then he ordered one of his underlings, or a lesser officer, to destroy the evidence. Okay, and covered up, then lied about it, and then finally came to admitted it after it was brought to light. But this is the guy. Okay. Anyway, so last week, or no, here. So let me continue on here. Okay. So back on January 8th, I get this email. Okay, from this dude, Charles Doyle. I am praying for strength to not go public with something a little birdie told me about you. I was going to just leave it alone because I don't have physical evidence. However, since you continue to gossip about me and defame me, which we weren't doing, we weren't even talking about him in public, right? We stopped talking about these idiots.
Yeah, I banned his name from the show, and after we get done here, he's going to be banned again.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
going to be done with it, wash our hands, and kick the dust off from our feet.
Yeah, we swore an oath we were not going to mention their names, and we didn't. So then he finished up. I get another one later at night. Says, you are lucky that I read this prior to reading this. I was going to slander you very bad in public. Okay, so he's going to slander me. So all of a sudden, like the next week, well, he does this live stream thing. So like the next week, he does this video where he says in the description he's going to name which white supremacy group I belong to, because everybody's a white supremacist according to him. Okay, seriously, if you disagree with him or he doesn't like something you say, you're a white supremacist. As the fine folks at your school are finding out, because guess what? Remember he did that video? He said to all you, the school board and the principal, all of you are white supremacists. You're in on it. That's why you haven't fired Eric yet, because you're a white supremacist. Just to let you know. Anyway.
Christian extremist also.
Christian extremist.
He called my principal a Christian extremist. Yes.
Yeah. Well, same. It's the
she's
same
a lovely
thing,
woman, but I don't think she's a Christian extremist at all.
Right. Anyway, same thing. So anyway, we're listening. I'm listening to it. Then all of a sudden he says at the end, "and radical moderate." I found, and he's got a long criminal record, and one of them he's registered he's on a registry. I was like, did he just call me a sex offender? What the hell? So I didn't think nothing of it for the next couple of days. Well, then I get this email. How do I go back? So then like a week later on the 16th, I start getting these emails from this other guy, which will remain nameless because he turned out to be kind of an okay guy. He's come clean, which we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, I started getting all these emails from this guy. When did you have to register as a sex offender, and what year was that in, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, what? And he's sending me all this stuff. He's like, we got screenshots, and we got all the stuff. We got. I'm about to spill the beans on you, as the title says. We got all this stuff, and that's where Eric comes in, chimes in, and that's when he sends off the email on was it last week Monday, trying to spook him out. And sure enough, like clockwork, 3 hours later, that's when Charles posted he's going to do the video exposing all, right? Remember? So you watch. So anyway, so I start getting these other emails, and another one from another one who will remain nameless on the 19th. Well, I have received more information today from various people, and not the ones you might expect, who have indeed confirmed that you are a registered sex offender. How dare you make mockery of me and even Marshall when your charge is one of the worst there is? You have never apologized to me. Apologize to you for what? Telling the truth about you? I don't think so. Integrity and avoiding hypocrisy is important when it comes to character. You have pretty large plank in your eye, Mr. Allen. Yeah. I'm like, what? Who is Mr. Allen? My name is Wells, dude.
It's Bud.
Yeah, Bud. Yeah. So then he sends this other. Same guy sends this other email, right, on the 20th, 3:43 a.m. Okay. Wow, Illinois, Wisconsin, you are pathetic loser. How dare you? How dare you make mockery of me? Well, yeah, we're gonna find out why. The Crescent says blah 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 blah, whatever. Yeah, all caps. So he's angry at 3 o'clock in the morning. Typing away. But look at the stuff in yellow. Alan Bud William, Alan Robert William, et cetera, Robert Ellen W. That's important. I want you to pay attention to that, because that's very important, because he copied all these names from a certain website, right? Okay, let's continue on. Because he continues on, I've seen the charges at this point with mugshots and all. You better keep our names out of your mouth. Whatever. Okay, we are going to bury you with humiliation. Again, he's just sending these emails over and over again. I'm on the train headed to work, and I'm trying to listen to a lecture on the JW Swift or JSW telescope. Is doing this really good lecture on what they discovered so far. And every time I get this email, it goes bing, bing, bing. It's totally interrupted my mood. Okay, anyway, we're going to bury you in humiliation. Battery's going low. We're going to bury you in humiliation. Mark my words. Going down, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, this was on my time. And then this is the other one. This is at 719. And your efforts will be in vain, because what has been discovered is 1,000 accurate. And it is you, no doubt. And he says that if I mention his name, we'll unleash the dogs on your pathetic pedophile behind. So these guys really believe this crap, right? Oh, you just made a huge mistake, devil. Mad. I asked him, why are you so mad? The links after link tells the whole story, right? Okay, but indeed, this is our recent photos of you. You won't turn on your camera to prove it, liar. Why? Because it is you, pedophile. You're pedophile. Again, you get the idea over and over again. You better hope I never see you in person. Okay, so here we go. Here's me, right? That's the most recent photo. That's the photo he's talking about. Eric,
you all need to pay attention to this part right here. This is good.
Yeah, you guys need to focus on this part. Eric, is that me? Eric, is that me?
No, it's not. It's not even close. But
and by the way, when
surprising 1,000%, and that's come on.
And by the way, when they're sending all this stuff, I think it was on a Thursday or whatever. I'm sending it to Eric, and I'm on the train. He's sending me. He's like, "No, this pedophile looks more like you." He's sending me all these other pedophiles.
Oh yeah, let me say that real quick. Okay, so what I did was I took Rad's picture, because what has happened, and he's telling me how to do this. You have to take the picture and drag it into Google Images search, and when you do that, all these, the similar pictures, and you put like the criteria, like sex offender or whatever. Well, I'm getting all these pictures, and I'm like, man, does every sex offender look the same? I mean, do they have weird old man? I mean, all these guys look kind of like it.
Right. Right. I'm like, thanks,
it didn't even occur to me that the criteria for the picture was the beginning part. But anyway, it was
okay. So anyway, so no, that's the thing. That's why they want me to go on the camera, because they want to get my picture. They want to do a reverse Google search and see if they can find me in any of the protests over 2020, in any of this the political media meetings I've been to, anything like that. So anything that has my name tagged to it, they want to find that. I'm like, no, I would be an idiot. Why would I turn my camera on to you guys who've just falsely slandered me, called me the worst kind of criminal ever? Why would anyone turn their webcam on for you? Seriously, dude. Seriously, I would be a fool to do that. Sorry for all you got your camera on. I'm just saying. But anyway. So now pay attention to this part. So notice the names here, right? Okay. Notice those are the same names that were copied, even in the same format that one of the guys copied in and put it in the email. See, this is where he got it from. Site, right? So he pasted in here. Notice this red line here. So you don't see anything in his email what's under here. But what do you have under here? Notice this life registration. That's important. But notice what you have down here. Residence. 200 East US Highway 14. Rock County Jail. Janesville, Wisconsin. It's about 300 miles away from you. 400 miles, I think. Rock County. Report date 9/14/2022. Verified 9/29/2022. There's another website. If you click on this link, it takes you to it. And it said, yeah, we just verified it like 3 days ago that he is still in the county jail. All right. So notice that it lists his residence. Residence change, actually, another website says.
That part was important, that he's still in jail. Important.
Register responds to latest UPS mail. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, here's another thing. They know, Charles, they all know that me and Eric met sometime in October for the Chicago Marathon. So this dude was already in jail in 9/29, right? So obviously it can't be me. He knows this. They see this, right? Okay. Now, notice this orange section down here. That's important. Pay attention to the orange section because that lists the criminal offense. And this little link here next to the one in Wisconsin, that's the one that takes you to a different website. That's also going to be important. So you guys all follow this? The first page of the document that clearly the one person actually read because he copied and pasted the text out of it clearly has the address of this dude who is clearly not me as being in the county jail, right? Okay, so let's continue on. Now, here is taken from the video. This is a screenshot taken from Charles Doyle's YouTube page, right? Okay. That he did the other night on me. He's now since taken it down, but he's saying, I didn't know none of this. I guess I was wrong. Whatever, dude. So here he is. This is the same page, right? Okay. Now notice the number 1 here. That's his writing. So he's basically making a list of photos he's going to put into a presentation. He actually says it in the video. But here you have it. Here's the recent picture of this dude. Now here's the funny thing. So I thought that they were just taking some of my stuff. Like they got height is kind of close. I'm not 6'5" though. Okay, I am a male and I am white. Okay, age he's about 4 or 5 years younger than me. Okay, yeah, hair color brown, eye color I got brown eyes. So you got some of the parameters right. Okay, close. So that's what I was thought he was just doing, looking for a sex offender that kind of maybe he found out how tall I was. I don't know, but either way, just put stuff in range. But again, here are the same names. So this is what this guy Charles might be sending to Kenny and oh god, I said his name. Oh my god, he said at least the dogs help me. Sorry. This is please forgive me. But this is what he's sending to these other 2 jokers, maybe. Okay? And this is why they don't know. I don't know, because maybe they just copied it out of this. I don't know. But anyway, let's continue. So I gotta really hurry up. So here's the next thing. Notice the life. Remember I said pointed that out? Because remember what's under the life part. What's under the life part, you can see it's chopped off. That's the address. That's the address that he clearly cut it out. So we go to 1, and this is his second photo or second screen clipping that he put in his presentation. That's his number. Okay. All right. So he deliberately cut out the address. Okay. But look at number 6 here. So he skipped over 2, 4 pictures that he didn't include. But look at what he does. This is another website, which I'll get to. Okay. Look at what he does. The address. He blocks out. He actually says in the video, I'm blocking out some of the information because I don't want to, dox him like his data.
Yeah, okay, that's really believable. Charles doesn't want to dox somebody. Yeah, we can believe that.
But this address says the address is in the county jail, which I will show next. Okay, so here we go. Here's another clipping of it. This is the actual photo from the actual website. I put my number 1. That's me. You can see the names. You see the life registration, registered life registration. That life All this is cut out. Everything with the X is cut out. He cut that out. What did he cut out? He cut out the address. So he deliberately edited this. So this is now with intent and with malice, clearly, of the emails he sent. So now it's with intent. It's very important. Okay, so he crosses that out, and this is number 2. This is that second screen grab, because he put it together. He put number 2 and he moved it up over, the big red X, so you can't see it. But now we're going to go to the other website. If you click on the link in yellow here next to Wisconsin, it brings you to this page. This is the top of the page, where Wisconsin Circuit Court access. I actually blocked out his birth date, but here's his address: 200 US 14, care of Rock County Jail, Janesville, Wisconsin. There's another one I didn't include in it that actually says he was verified as still being there on January 2nd. I actually called the jail, and the jail said, yep, he's going to be there until May 2nd. Okay, so just to let you know, he's still in there. You can call in there. Obviously, I'm not in jail. Okay. So anyway, so then I'm getting all these flurries of email being called a pedophile by both of them, blah blah blah, all this stuff. It's you, and then I send them. Well, Eric sends an email, so I'm knocking off, and then I send them the address. I'm like, dummy, here's a screenshot from the actual page. It has his address. He's in jail. So I sent that off at like 10:30. Okay, or whatever. I responded to one of these emails at 10:30 or 10:21, whatever, where they were still accusing me of being a pedophile. And all of a sudden, an hour later, this is last night. So then all of a sudden, at 11:23, I didn't even see this. Actually, I think I saw this one. But yeah, this is all on Charles. He's the one who's feeding the information. It was messaging me all this information. And then from the other guy, right? Or no, this is still him. I was fed the wrong information. Oh no, this was well, what happened? Did I miss one? Yeah. Oh, then I also get another email from the other guy saying, and about an hour later at midnight, which I didn't see, saying, "Oh no, I was wrong. I was duped." But here's the same person. I was fed wrong information about you from him. I did my own independent investment, and the guy who he claims is you is in fact not you. This guy is currently incarcerated. Duh. And of course, you are not true. You are not. I truly apologize for this. I will be posting a video tomorrow on my Facebook account. Apologize to you and telling everyone that this is not you, as I was feed the wrong and inaccurate information, that you are innocent of these false allegations, and clear your name of this false claims and allegations. He also says something, Eric. We're not interested in that. Okay. Anyway. He responds again. This is the morning. I have also blocked Charles' Facebook account and want nothing to do with him. Charles is a liar. So this is one of his online buddies now telling everybody that Charles is a liar. Okay, so this is what you got to understand with this dude. Okay, and I see now that what you are talking about with him being mentally unstable. Yeah, this guy is a nut job. Okay, so kudos to him for finally realizing it after he spent all this time. Okay. Oh, and he continues on. It sends me another email. I have posted my apology video on the Facebook account on Solid TV. Add in Dr. Zakir Knight, now our Facebook group, and also deleted all posts about you. And can you please inform Eric Smith that I deleted every post about him on the cross? I have also deleted the refuting the cross and Crescent refuted. This is all over. I spent so much of my time and energy on this. We will no longer be pursuing the protest or the dismal dismissal of Eric's teaching position after I made my moving prayer to Allah. This is in my heart. Well, good for you, dude. Well, I'm sorry you're still praying to Allah. You need to repent and come to Christ. But good for you coming in. And I applaud you for that. Everybody applaud him. Yeah. After 6 years of threatening to get Eric fired, now he finally comes and realizes, oh, I wasted all this time. Yeah. Okay, whatever. But good for you. Yeah. Okay, continuing on. This is the other dude. This is the other dude who I cannot mention his name. Who will unleash the dogs on me. Whatever that means. Well, after further review and looking at all the information provided, it certainly appears I was made a fool of. Really? You think? Okay. I should have continued to keep myself and avoid gossip. The prophet warned about accepting heresy. I was wrong for doing so, and I do indeed apologize. I applaud you for your apology.
And I doubt in that email I actually said that I sent them. said that I doubt that either of you or any of you would apologize for this. But
Yeah,
I give Marshall or give the
don't
Line of
say their
Dawah and
names.
the Imam from Houston, I give them credit for doing that. And one thing that I did learn was a number of years ago, we had that sniffing sound on our show. He turned his camera off, and it sounded like he was doing something that he wasn't supposed to do. And then I had sent the email to the Dawah, the Line of Dawah guy, and accused him of using coke on my show. And he, of course, naturally, somebody, you say I'm a drug user or whatever, and you accuse them of it, they're going to be upset. So he sent me a couple pictures. It was an inhaler. But man,
Right,
it sounded like he was sniffing on something really hard. And so
It did sound like,
I went in and I did the right thing. I
You
said, look, I apologize. I shouldn't have, I falsely accused you of something. Let's move on. And we did. But
aren't inhalers, don't you usually breathe those in through your mouth?
No, he's got this thing you stick up your nose. Yeah, whatever.
One of them Vicks inhalers. But anyway, we let it go, and it's water under the bridge. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see that.
Yeah. So thank you guys.
Go ahead, Ryan. You got 2 minutes.
Okay, so thank you for apologizing for me. Now I hope you tell everyone. I don't know if the other one actually made a Facebook video apologizing, because I have no way to see his account. I'm skeptical of it. Okay, I'm just saying. I hope you do. Okay, and I hope the other guy that also has a YouTube channel, and I hope honestly you make a little blurb and say, hey, dude, I'm sorry. He is not a convicted sex offender that's currently sitting in jail in some place in Wisconsin. Okay, and that Charles Doyle is a lying, what do you call it, slanderer. And oh, by the way, one more thing too, to you two knuckleheads. You knuckleheads, listen to him. This is the guy that practically destroyed your channel, or tried to take down your channel, your whole network. Remember the whole thing? He went and accused Beholder Guard of being a racist or something, and then said, "I'm leaving Islam because you're a racist now. You defend racists." Remember that whole thing? That was all him. It was all him. And then you and Beholder Guard went at it for like months, and everybody's like, "Stop it, knock it off." Okay, this is the same guy. Okay, and he left Islam anyway. Like I said, he will turn on any group, and this is a fair warning to any of you who encounter this guy online. Fair warning. All right. And one more thing. To the school board, the principal, if you do see this guy, seriously, call the cops, because he has threatened suicide. He has threatened to go out with a bang, go out in a mass casualty event. I actually called the local county sheriff where he lives to do a wellness check on him, to do a report on him. So he is that unstable where he makes suicide and a mass casualty event threats. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed the show. It was fun making it. Okay.
Yeah, what was sickening about it is how quick they were all three of them were to rush to judgment. So eager to drag you down into, I don't want to say on their level, because none of them are, well, I don't think they are child molesters. Well, the one did assault a juvenile. So maybe anyway, but they were so quick to jump on you on a piece of evidence that was obviously bogus and bogus up. So let's hopefully we got that behind us and we can move forward with our show and informing the public about the differences between Christianity and
Let's
Islam.
Look at those holes. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam was waiting.
Looking forward to what
pretty good example.
Can't wait to see these holes. And like Adam said, which spot are we talking?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the blind spot that we're going to see, we're going to talk to about today is Muhammad's.
Hey, wait, everybody! Is Eric being jerky? Is Eric video being bad? Is it going anything
it's
wrong?
Good. It's good and strong.
All right. So we figured out the problem.
Right. Yeah. We got a computer. I have a computer that's almost as old as I am.
Yeah. So he had to. Yeah.
In computer years, at least.
In computer years, yeah. So we had to get a new computer, and we just haven't had time to arrange it in here in the Kaffir Cave. So today we're operating off a new technology, and here we go. Here's Kufar phobia. So today we're hopefully this is not going to be. Would you stop? Look at that. Today we're. That's funny. Okay, so today we're going to be operating off the new technology, and hopefully we won't be lagging any more than what we have in the past. All right, so today's topic, why is this important? Why is this topic important for us to look at? Now, I called today's show Islam's Blind Spot, and the reason why I call it a blind spot is because of what the Quran teaches. In the Quran, Surah 33, verse ayat 21, it says, "The messenger of Allah, you have a good example to follow," meaning that whatever he does, and this isn't me saying this. This is what most of your Muslims today will say, is that we pattern our conduct after that of what Muhammad did. So whatever Muhammad did is a rightly. Well, I don't know if you could say it's. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's if he tied his shoe or his sandal, the left sandal first, then that's the way you do it. If he tied the right one first, then that's the way you do it. If he blew snot out of his left nostril, so whatever he did, whatever's described in the Hadith, you follow that standard of conduct because he is supposed to be the best human being that ever lived. And if you ask most Muslims, that's exactly what they're going to tell you. Now, if you're confused about what that means, and this is what I've been doing in this book I've been writing, I am not allowing people to trust my interpretation of what these verses mean, because if you have a messenger and you have a good example to follow, well, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that this kafir is going to be able to tell you what your most trusted sources say? No. So what I do is I go to the most trusted sources or commentaries of the Quran, and I start with Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Abbas is saying, yes, you have a good example. An imitation, a goodly imitation in staying with him in, I don't even know what that means, in the ditch. So you have a good example and a goodly imitation to follow. Al-Jalalain says he's a good example in the messenger to emulate. So what he does, you emulate. And then Ibn Kathir followed the messenger of Allah in all his words and deeds. Take the prophet as an example. Why don't you take him as an example and follow his lead? That's what it means. You need to take his example and follow the lead of what Muhammad did. Well, why is this problematic? Well, because people do follow what he did. And if you look at some of the things he did, if we look at what Muslims did, they'll begin their day with the shart dua. I don't even know what that means. What is a siwak?
It's a siwak.
It's a
It's
siwak. Is that like a toothbrush?
A mishwak is sort of like a stick that functions sort of like a toothbrush.
Okay, that's
a stick that you put in your mouth, and what it says is that the kind of plant-based thing, like that resin type of thing, will actually clean your teeth.
Well, that's a great idea. I mean, who knew that 1,400 years ago somebody tell you to brush your teeth? I mean, that's a good practice.
Yeah, sure.
The dentist today would probably be converting if they knew that he said that. What else we got here? Reply to the adhan for each prayer. So pray 5 times a day. Say Bismillah and Salam when entering the house. Praise Allah after eating. Sit down to drink water. So don't be drinking while you're running or standing or whatever. Recite Ayatul Kursi.
It's the verse of the throne. That's what Ayatul Kursi is. It's the sign of the throne.
Okay. Recite the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah at night. Make wudu before sleeping at night. That's a good idea. Take a moment to ask Allah for forgiveness. That is always a great idea. Give a smile to at least one person. That is, I mean, all of these things seem like great ideas. And you know what? If this was just all that they did, we wouldn't have this show. We wouldn't be doing this show. What would we have to talk about? This would be, It would be a moot point because all of these values that we just saw here, let me go back to it. These are pretty much Christian values. I don't know about brushing your teeth once a day, but these are pretty much Christian values. Say a prayer in the morning when you get up, thanking God for your life. Well, I don't know about sitting down to drink water, but anyway, a lot of these are pretty much decent things to do. So where does this really become problematic? Well, it becomes problematic in the Hadith. When we look at the Hadith literature, we see things that this guy had done and has done that other people are supposed to be emulating. They're supposed to be doing. And when we look at these Hadith, I'm only going to cite Sahih Hadith. Now, I want you to pay attention to this part right here, because this is kind of important, because we've heard a lot from, well, just about every time I engage Muslims on this topic, you hear a lot of waffling on the truthfulness of the Hadith. So what I want to do is I want to show you what one of their most trusted scholars, Asqalani, has to say, because what he's done is he's gone in and made a commentary on the Sahih Bukhari Hadith. And here's what he says about Hadith themselves. Here's what he says. He says, a Sahih Hadith has about a 99 to 100% chance of being entirely accurate. So if you are going to reject a Sahih Hadith, you have at most, according to Asqalani, a 1% chance of being right. Think about that for a second. You only have a 1% chance of being right if you are indeed going to be rejecting a Sahih Hadith. Now, what if the Hadith is Hasan? Hasan is where it's not Sahih, but it's not Da'if. You have about an 85 to 99% chance of it being entirely accurate. But I'm not going to use any Hasan Ahadith on this show today. I'm not, as a matter of fact, I will not, when I'm doing this book, I will not cite any Hasan or Da'if Ahadith there, because you're always going to have people, well, you can't trust that Hadith. And then a Da'if Hadith has about a 45 to 85% chance of being accurate. So at a maximum, you have even if the Hadith is Da'if, where you can't really trust it, or it's not as trustable, you still have about an 85% chance of that thing being authentic. And
That's
as low as
widespread.
45%. 45% is just a little under 50. Go ahead, Ed. I'm
Do you
sorry.
mind if I say something
I'm
after
just
Ed?
saying.
Hold on,
I'm
let
just
Ed go, and
saying-
then you can go.
I was just saying that's quite the widespread there, man.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's
85, whoa.
well, that's Da'if, and I won't, like I said, the majority of us, when we engage in conversations with people about this, we won't use Da'if Hadith. The only time that we should, and then I guess you could use a couple Hasan, I suppose, because you're still 85%.
Da'if still passes though.
Yeah,
It
you're
still
right.
passes.
It does, and that's the scary thing. They'll say, "Oh, that's Da'if." Well, Da'if has got 45 to 90 or 85% chance of still being authentic, which is very problematic.
I've spent a lot of time, even in college, studying Hadith sciences. And the Ahadith are kind of complex on several levels, because really what we're testing, what is the veracity being tested here, is are the people good that are narrating it? It's not really about the content of the information. So we don't really know for sure if this information is connected or accurate to the source. We just know that the chain of people who narrated it are good people. So Da'if Hadith are saying, well, there are a few people in what is called an isnad. An isnad is a chain. We know that a few people in the chain are not good people. Like they have some problems with their character. And that's why we challenge the Hadith. It's not really about, is the content correct? We can't really test for the issue of whisper down the lane or telephone. I don't know if you know about those games, but like when you whisper a story and then you keep telling the story, and then the story kind of slightly changes each time, and then at the end it's a completely different story. The checking of accuracy does not allow for that. And so this is kind of a really difficult space. Hadith is a very difficult space, because we can't really say for sure, is this the information from 1400 years ago? We can only
Exactly.
say that the people who are narrating it are good,
Okay.
or not.
Yep, you don't have the references, you don't have the materials to go back to from that time period, so it's moot in my point, in my estimation.
Yeah, well, if you look at the comment that Little Deer made here, she says that the Quran only Muslims are throwing the scholars under the bus.
Big time.
Because of some of the things that these hadiths say, that Muhammad did this, Muhammad did this. Well, hold on a second, are you serious? Are you kidding me? And you still think this guy was a prophet of any sort? But in this case, the deal with Aisha, even if you do throw the hadith, the compilers of the hadith under the bus, it still doesn't do you any good, because we're going to go to the Quran, and we're also going to go to the Sharia today to see what they have to say about all of this.
Yep, and the Sharia is the bottom line. That is what that's where the buck stops, right there. As a matter of fact, Sharia is held in more regard than the Quran is, if you want to know the truth about it.
Yeah.
Well, it comes down to that's where they learn how to pray, because there's nothing else that tells them how to pray besides the Sharia.
Say that again, Paul. I didn't. I'm sorry.
There is no place to find out how to pray and what to do when you pray. There's no, except in Sharia. It's
Right.
not in the
You're right.
Hadith,
Yeah.
it's not in the
You can't.
Quran.
Yeah. You can't follow the five pillars of Islam if you're just following the Quran. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. And that's why you have to have Muhammad there to tell you what to do. Okay, let's jump back on this. And then it goes on to say that even fabricated hadith have a 0 to 45% chance of being accurate.
Even if it's fabricated, that's hilarious.
Yeah, even if
it's made up, and it's 45% chance of being accurate.
It still has.
Does that tell you what hadith are? Are they all fabricated?
Well, this is. I mean, you think about this. This guy is one of the most trusted, most trusted people. That when he goes to comment on all of this, is it red? Okay, I didn't know that you had jumped out there, brother. So, in Ascalani is one of those very trusted scholars, and when he's writing this, what is it, Fatah al-Bari, this commentary, I don't know. You're going to throw him under the bus too? Apparently so. So why is this important? Why is this so important to understand? Well, it's because this is the blind spot they had. And here's the blind spot. If you look at the DSM is your psychological manual.
If you're
that
diagnosing
defines,
somebody with psychiatric illness, that's
right,
what it is.
Yeah, all of the diagnoses, it doesn't matter. If you're a psycho, your disorder is probably in this manual.
If you have a psychiatric illness, period. Yeah.
Okay, and this it defines. Now, this is where we're going with this. It defines pedophilic disorder. It is a disorder. Pedophilia is a disorder. To call it young person attract. What are they calling it today? They're calling it something.
Oh my God.
Nefarious. It says young person attraction or young people attraction or something, like to try to comb over the fact that it is indeed a sick, perverted ideology. And this is what really prompted the topic of this show this week, is when they started accusing Rad of the most vile things that you could do as a human being. That's, that you step back and go, so wait a second, this is in your hadith, and we're going to get that to here in just a second. But to accuse somebody of that, the names that they were calling him, said, you're a pedo, you're a scumbag. I mean, you're the worst of the worst. And I agree. Somebody that would do that to a child has got to be the worst of the worst. Even in prison today, the lowest person on the totem pole in that prison that has to actually be, if you're a prisoner and you are in prison, these group of people, the pedophiles, the ones that hurt children, have to be protected from other prisoners, because even the other prisoners view them and know that this is something sick to do. So let's take a look and see what the DSM defines pedophilia as. And this is assigned to adults. This is somebody 16 years of age who have a desire, a sexual desire for prepubescent children. So if you have this sexual desire for a prepubescent child, you are a pedophile. It is a disorder according to today's standards. Now, does this mean that 1400 years ago, somebody that was, let's say, 16 who had a desire for somebody that was 9 years old was a pedophile? Well, according to the DSM, yes, because it lays out 3 criteria. Look at here. It lays out, whoops, where are we at here? Let me bring this back over. Sorry. There we go. 3 criteria. It says, according to this manual, there are 3 criteria that define who this applies to. Number 1, an individual who has an arousing fantasies about, urges for, or behaviors with prepubescent child or children. And if you are a grown man and you have those type of feelings for a prepubescent child, you are a scumbag. You are a psychopath. You need to get help. And the sad thing is the recidivism rate for these people when they get out of prison. I should have looked that up. Maybe one of y'all can check and see what the recidivism rate is for pedophiles when they're let out of prison. I'd appreciate that, and plug that into the chat, or you come up on mic and tell me. Second criteria. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think the new term that they're using is called MAPS, minor attracted persons.
There you go, minor attracted person. Right? Yeah. I knew that. I knew that it had something to do with persons in there, and they're trying to gloss over how sick it is by using these terminologies. It's like, okay, well, if you have an abortion, you're only terminating a fetus. No, you're killing a child if you're having an abortion. But the verbiage is important, and this is exactly what they're doing. They're trying to do it in this case too. All right, the second criteria. It has to be acted out. This individual acts out these sexual desires or has experienced significant distress or difficulty as a result of these desires. So the person has such strong feelings to go do this to a child that if they don't act out on them, it's causing them distress. It's causing them to feel distressed, to feel anxious. They feel like that they have to do this. And then lastly, the third one, and this is what I was mentioning earlier, the individual is 16 years of age and at least 5 years older than the child or children noted in criterion A, which is right here. So if you are at least 16 years old and you're at least 5 years older than the person that you are having these feelings for, then you are suffering from pedophilic disorder.
Wait, hold on a second. 16 years old? 9 years old?
Okay, okay. It says,
I was Muhammad again.
We're getting to that.
Oh, okay.
We're getting. Stay with me on this, please. Stay with me. And one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about this is because when we start talking, like the kids that I teach, 13, 14 years old, the idea that a grown man, whether that man is 18, 19, 20 years old, 22, would have those types of feelings for the girls that I teach. It's just repugnant to me. And the anger that you would feel, and this is why, as a teacher, one of the things that we're charged to do is ensure the safety of our kids. And the idea of somebody, and this is why we're always watching for adults that come into the building that might be in there unauthorized. You always have to be watching for these type of things. And even when they're going out to the bus, who else is out here? We had a gentleman try to walk into the school one morning when the kids were getting off the bus, and he tried to blend in, and we stopped him, and it come to find out this guy had a history of doing things like this. Now I'm not sure, I don't remember if he had a record of pedophilia, but he had this desire to be around children, and he tried to do it before. So this kind of makes this pretty personal to me, because I'm one of those guys that is sitting there on the front lines protecting people protecting these kids from these old scumbags.
I have your numbers, Eric.
Oh yeah, okay, go ahead, Ed. Yeah.
The sexual recidivism rate of sex offenders range from about 3% after 3 years to approximately 24% after 15 years. The highest recidivism rates have been found among child molesters who offend against boys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Up to
post the link in here.
25%. 24%. But I mean, I was just say 1 out of 4. So if you go to prison for something like this and you get out, 1 out of every 4 of them are going to commit the same crime. That's just sick. Brad, why are you up here twice? Is there a reason why you're up here twice? You're on one headset and you're doing something else, or you just want to be twice as popular today?
He wants the echo effect.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, how do we know that Muhammad did these things? Well, like as I said, we have to turn to the Hadith.
Oh, I'm sorry, my cell box got locked down, so we had to move out to a different cell. So I had to go mobile on my smuggled contraband, mobile phone. No, I had to go out, run out and get something, so I'm going to come back.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what the Hadith literature have to say. Now, remember, this is Sahih. All of these verses are Sahih in nature, meaning, according to Asqalani, that there's a 99% chance, a 99 to 100% chance that these are authentic. So let's start with Sahih Bukhari himself. And it says, narrated Hisham's father, Khadijah died 3 years before the Prophet departed Medina. He stayed there for 2 years. And so then he married Aisha when she was a girl of 6 years old. And look at here. It says it right here in the Hadith, Sahih Hadith. He consummated that marriage when she was 9 years old. So 99 to 100% assurity that this is an authentic hadith. Sahih Bukhari again says that Aisha, now this is from Aisha, this would be an eyewitness. So if you make the claim that, well, you weren't there, he was, you how do you know? Well, here Aisha was there, and she says the Prophet married me when she was 6, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9. And this is where the math works out, where if you look at some of these other excuses, these rescuing devices that they come up with, well, if you look at the date of this and you look at the date of that, and you look at the Sahih Hadith, the math works out because it says that she stayed with him for another 9 years until his death. Well, if Muhammad was 53 years old when he married her, which everybody assumes, 53, 54, and he died at the age of 62, that math works out. The math of Aisha being 18 years old when she got married does not work out because there's another hadith that we're going to be looking at. Again, Sahih Bukhari, I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends used to play with me. When Allah's apostle used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call to them and join and play with me. Now, here is Asqalani's commentary on this. Now, he explains the doll piece here. He says the playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden. It's forbidden for Muslims to do this. This is why when you go to if you see photographs of people in predominantly Islamic countries and you look at the walls, there's no pictures of people there. They might have a picture of a building or whatever, but not of people, not of images of people or things that are alive for that matter. But look what it says. But it was allowed for Aisha at the time, as she was a little girl and had not yet reached the age of puberty. And again, this is from the Fateh al-Bari in volume 13 of this. So here you have one of the most trusted scholars that is commenting on this hadith literature by Bukhari, is saying, look, this is why she was allowed to play with her dolls. She was allowed to play with dolls and not have to comply with the Islamic traditions of not playing with or having images around is because she was just a little girl. She was a prepubescent little girl, and they allowed prepubescent little girls to do this. So here you have your own scholars admitting this. And there's more here. Let's go to Sahih Muslim, where Aisha is narrating this. And he married me when I was 6, and I was admitted to his house when I was 9. So if you're admitted to his house, what is he going to do to you when you are admitted to his house? Well, naturally, he's going to consummate that marriage because you are being admitted to his house. Let's go to Muslim again. It says, Aisha reported that he married her when she was 7 years old. So we have a year. We're off by a whole year here. Notice it's not 14, 16, 18. It's just 1 year. And that was the year that she was betrothed to him in marriage. And then it says, was taken to his house as a bride when she was 9 and her dolls were with her. And look at here. Muhammad died when she was 18 years old. Well, that lines up with this one right here, where she was 9 years old when they consummated it, and she was with him for 9 years. Notice how you have two separate sources confirming that she was 18 years old when Muhammad died. Two separate sources. Sunan Abu Dawud says that he had intercourse with me when I was 9 years old. And this is from Aisha. Aisha said, 99% surety that this is an accurate hadith, according to Asqalani. Again, here's another one from Al-Nasi, where it says the Messenger of Allah married me when I was, and this is from Aisha saying this, when I was 6 and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9. So you have 9. Here's another one from Nasi. I was 9 and I lived with him for 9 years. Here's another one from Nasi. It was narrated from Aisha that Messenger of Allah married her when she was 9 and he died when she was 18. So you have another confirmation of being with him for 9 years and dying when she was 18. So the math lines up. Any other math does not line up. Again, here's another one from Sunan Ibn Majah, where he says that she was 9 and he passed away when she was 18. Do you see a pattern here, folks? And Ibn Kathir, commenting on, let's see, well, Ibn Kathir comes out and says that she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage at the age of 9. And look what he says. There is no, I got to sneeze. Sorry. There is no dispute among anyone on this matter. So why would somebody dispute on this matter? Why would anybody want to say that, hey, she wasn't 9, she was at least 18?
But the
I think
Shia
the last person I
say,
heard
the Shia say that she was 18.
And
Yes.
some people love to read articles and books.
Encyclopedia Britannica and
Yeah.
Karen Armstrong, whatever her name
rather
was.
than
Right.
primary sources, which is what social studies teachers try to teach their kids. You got to go to the primary source.
Right, exactly.
Don't trust the tertiary sources.
Well, those are not even. If you well, okay, I'm not going to get into it, but if you start talking about the definition of tertiary sources, all of the hadith would be more than tertiary sources, but we're not even in. But according to Asqalani, you got a 99 to 100% chance that these are authentic hadith. Let's take a look
Hey,
at
you
another.
changed your view. That's a good look. With the shelves on your right side.
Yeah, I had to get
That's
a new
pretty
computer.
cool.
I had to get a new computer.
Okay, looks good.
Rad hacked my computer yesterday and went fishing around, and he said, "Man, Kaffer, that computer is old as you are. You need to replace it." And I'm like, okay. So
he's got an Intel Celeron processor, only one core, a spinning disk.
No. There's 2 core processors there.
No,
Yes.
no. One is logical. No, it only has one core. Okay,
Hey,
but
Rad.
it serves as a logical processor. So yeah,
Rad,
it's
what will happen?
but
Hey, Rad, what will happen if they do a a Photoshop check on Babyface right now.
Man, that baby face has got to go, man.
Should have got that.
Makes us look not professional here.
I
It is funny though. I give you that.
Well, he had a clown face on earlier. I thought was
yeah, he's got to hook me
I
up
don't
with
like
that
clown
program.
faces.
yeah, I know it's kind of scary.
I never liked clowns. Even as a little girl, I thought they were weird.
Well, okay, you have a man. Ooh, that might be something there. You have a man.
No, that's pretty cool. I like the pirate kind of.
I
wearing
should have got
makeup.
that. I should have got
wig.
that so I could go on. Yeah, I could go on my cam, and they could. Yeah, that's you know what? Careful, they might do a Google reverse image of you, and it might turn out that you're a pedophile somewhere in some state.
That's what they look like too, minus the hat. Anyway, I mean, the last photo. What was the last photo I sent you, Brad? I said this is the next one they're going to post and say this is you.
Oh, you know what I forgot? Oh, I
It was
forgot.
Jeffrey Epstein. I sent him.
Jeffrey
This has
Epstein,
to be
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot, dude. I sent that letter off to Mr. Allen in the county jail, giving them. Oh crap! Well, giving them Charles's address. Well, he might get to meet somebody he thought was me in May. I don't know, but
All right.
well. Let's just end it.
Okay, what's the next topic?
Okay, we're still on this topic. Now we're going to move away from the Hadith literature, and we're just going to go to the Sirah, which is another trusted source for the history of Muhammad. And the Sirat Rasul Allah, the Sirah of Allah, according to Ibn Hisham. Oops. Yeah, you have too much time. That's too far. According to Ibn Hisham. Now, keep in mind, Ibn Hisham lived 200 years after the death of Muhammad. 2 centuries. His Sirah, his biography of Muhammad, was drawn from a guy by the name of Ibn Ishaq. Ibn Ishaq lived a century after Muhammad. So when we start talking about these sources that say this and that, and somebody, who was it that was mentioning the Shia sources not trusting this literature? And that's true. The Shia won't.
Oh, they hate it. They hate it, and they hate Aisha. It's hate.
They'll sit there and they'll criticize the Sunnis and call them a bunch of perverts for believing this.
Yeah.
But when we look at the Sirah Rasulullah, the Sirah of the Messenger of God, is basically what it says. He says here he married Aisha, describing the history of what Muhammad did in Mecca when she was a child of 7. So here you have another allusion to 7. Notice it's not 17, it's not 10, it's not 12, it's 7 years old. So she's betrothed to him when she was 7, and he lived with her in Medina when she was 9 or 10. So notice it doesn't go up to 12 or 15, 16 or 18. These are estimates. And this is something Ibn Hisham has even admitted that he has taken out or took out some of the most embarrassing things about the life of Muhammad. Now, if you were taking out the most embarrassing things about the life of Muhammad and you leave this in, I would really hate to see what those other things had to say about it.
Exactly.
Because if this isn't embarrassing, I don't know what your standard for embarrassment is. Okay, now let's look at Tabari. Tabari has a couple comments on this. He says that the angel brought down my likeness. The messenger of God married me. This is narrating from Aisha. My marriage was consummated when I was 9. And Tabari, of course, we know writes the history of Islam. And then in another place, he says the messenger of God consummated his marriage with me in my house when I was 9 years old. And look at the lament of Aisha here. You know, I was reading through this when I was putting this together, and I was thinking, you're a little girl, and you're married off to this old man, and they have so little respect for you that they don't even treat it like a real marriage, where in a real marriage, they would have some type of celebration. And she doesn't even get a goat slaughtered for her or some type of celebration. You can see, maybe she was feeling
That explains why the goat ate the verses of stoning. Aha!
That's it. Tabari, he's our hero. Okay, again, he says the prophet married Aisha, and then on the day he consummated the marriage, she was 9 years old. So here you have three separate sources. You have Sahih, 99 to 100% authentic hadith. You have the biography of Muhammad saying that you can do this, or he did this to Aisha. Remember, he is supposed to be an example to follow, not only according to the Quran, but that is backed up by the testimony of the most commentators on the Quran, Ibn Abbas, Al-Jalalain, and Ibn Kathir. They all say, yeah, that's exactly what it means. But now let's go to the Quran itself. The Quran itself in chapter 65, let's go back to this. 65 verse 4 talks about divorce. Now let's just kind of take a pause here and look at the issue of divorce to begin with. Divorce is breaking a covenant established by God. When you enter into a marriage, you are swearing before God that you are, because Christ said that, a man shall leave his parents and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. That is, according to God, that is a divinely ordained institution. Now, don't. I understand people have gotten divorced before for all kinds of different reasons, but in Islam, it's different.
Yeah, it's go for it. Allah likes it.
So
made a whole chapter of it.
Look at the criteria for this. All you have to do is just say 3 times talaq, talaq, talaq. If I'm not mistaken, somebody that speaks Arabic can
that's it.
Correct me.
Talaq,
I divorce you. I
talaq,
divorce
but
you. I
there's no-
divorce you.
But there's no marriage in the Quran. It's all sex. I mean,
Well,
when they use the word
it's
marriage,
nikah.
it's actually the F word.
It's an intercourse, nikah. It's intercourse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I based on what my knowledge of it is, I agree with you on that. But here, here we have in the Quran itself, 65:4. Look what it says. We're talking about an iddah. You cannot divorce, you cannot turn your wife away until that female, has gone through a 3-year waiting period, or 3-month waiting period. 3 months. You have to wait 3 months before you can turn her out. Now, look what the God of the universe puts in his last message to mankind, just to make sure that we understand how the steps that are necessary in order to divorce your wife, the divinely sanctioned institution. Here is how he tells you how you have to do it. It says, those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you doubt, their period is 3 months, which means that this is a menopausal woman, a woman who no longer menstruated at one time, but no longer menstruates because she's older. This isn't my definition of this. This is the definition of the most trusted commentators on the Quran, their opinion. I'm going to show you here, like I do in the book, what they have to say about it. And then it goes on to say, and also those who have not menstruated. Now, one of the biggest rescuing devices that when you get into discussions with people like this, is saying, oh, well, that doesn't mean that they're prepubescent. That just means that they don't menstruate. There's all kinds of women out there that don't menstruate. Well, if that's the case, then why do you have to give them a 3-month waiting period? What is the purpose of that? So when we look at this and you start making practical applications, what they're doing is they're trying to protect, knowing how absolutely grotesque this is, from the public, especially here in the West in the 21st century. When we look at this, they say, wait a second, let me put this back up here. You're going to marry a girl who has not yet menstruated. And then you're going to consummate that marriage with a girl who has not yet menstruated. and then you're going to divorce her? You're going to divorce this little girl? I don't know. I don't, when we think about doing that to a little girl to begin with, the psychological impact of that's got to be horrific. The physical aspects of that are horrific, and we're going to talk about that here shortly. But to have this sanctioned by the God of the universe, and you believe this because this is in the Quran, is a blind spot from Hades, a satanically inspired blind spot, or there has to be something extra spiritual going on out there for you to think that the God of the universe would actually provide a provision for you to marry a little girl, consummate that marriage with a little girl, and then divorce that little girl before she's had her first period.
Let me be the devil's in this case, the Muslim advocate. So modern day Muslims practice their own version of Islam, and throw the hadiths under the bus and throw all this up. Would argue and say, but what about the scholars who say that she was actually older? Because there are some scholars, right?
Yeah, many centuries after.
We're talking about only within this century.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're changing Islam as they go.
Exactly.
Well,
what about this?
What they're doing is they're trying to make it more palatable for a Western mindset, a Judeo-Christian mindset is what they're trying to do.
What about this argument? This is the
But
best
Islam
argument
is
ever.
Islam.
This is the best argument.
Allah perfected the religion already, so why are they changing it? They're changing the words of Allah. Hey, Adam.
Well, hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
So here is the best argument. Here's the best argument I've ever heard. There were only two people that were there when the marriage was consummated. We weren't there. So how do we know? We can't know. Right? There's reasonable doubt. She could have been
No, there's not. I just showed you. These narrations are from Aisha herself. She was.
Yeah, but she was only 9, so how could she remember how old she was?
Okay, these are 99 to 100% authentic hadith. That's the thing. That's the thing with it. That argument. The Encyclopedia Britannica says Karen Armstrong. No. And I understand why that argument's being made. We even had who is the one guy something Yahya Islam Defender was on here, and he even says that he throws that under the bus and says you can't accept that kind of stuff. So
May I answer that point, because most of the ahadiths are coming from Aisha in Sunni Islam, and she not even only said that she was 9, rather she said that she was 18 when Muhammad died. So if you remove that when she was 9 she couldn't remember her age, when Muhammad died she remembered her age, that her age was 18. Considering that point, you can backtrack the age. She becomes 9 when Muhammad consummated the marriage, resulting, if you throw that hadith under the bus, then you have to reject all the hadiths that are transmitted by Aisha.
Right. I mean, we were showing, there was a couple hadiths that we did show where they do the math for us, where she was 9 years old when the marriage was consummated. She stayed with the Prophet for additional 9 years, and then until the Prophet died when she was 18 years old. I can't remember which one that was, but I mean, it's in the literature. It's in their most trusted sources. And, and this is what we were saying is that they are now living in a Western world. They're living in the 21st century where you can't hide this nonsense anymore. You can't and then the sensibilities of the 21st century cultures looks back at this and say, okay, and this is why I pointed out at the beginning of the show. I showed that the verses there from the Quran, that he is supposed to be, his actions are supposed to be emulated. They're supposed to be followed. He is a good example. And is this a good example? I mean, that's the question that you have to ask yourself.
The whole thing.
This is what gets me back to Genesis and the serpent with Eve and the whole 9 yards, and how the serpent has hated the woman ever since. And this is how we can say that Islam is certainly the religion of Satan, because Satan hates the woman, and Islam shows us how much they hate the woman.
Ed, you're going to have to do that slideshow that we had talked about before we went off there for 4 months. Based on, you remember what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, and I would really like to hear what your comments on are about that.
But wait a second, guys. You're missing one point. In the Sahih Hadiths, there is someone who later in life got old, and so he got dementia and lost his memory. So doesn't that make that Sahih Hadith not Sahih anymore? Can't be trusted.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you have against people who are old? Why would you bring that up against?
No, that's their argument. That's that.
That's the main one on Clubhouse, and it's just one. But
exactly,
but
Connie. We got 10 other ones right here, and that's just one of them, right?
Exactly, and they want to attach to that one.
Right. Okay. So let's get back to the Quran verse here, because I want to go to the commentators on this, Ibn Abbas, Al-Jalain, and Ibn Kathir, so everybody can see that we're not making a mistake here about what is meant by those who have not menstruated. That means that they are young girls who have not entered puberty yet. And even if you are menstruating, that still does not mean that you are prepared to bear children. And we can get in all kinds of different medical discussions about why that is, but suffice to say, anybody that does something like this, has got to have something wrong with them. So let's look at Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas says, and he looks at this first one. He says, okay, as for your women as despair of menstruation, meaning they no longer menstruate. Why don't they menstruate? Because they're old. They go through menopause. And then it goes on, which another, okay, old messenger, what about the waiting period for those? Somebody asked, Muhammad about this. What about the waiting period of those who do not have menstruation? Because they are too young. And it's because of a young age, they do not have it, along with those who have it not because of young age. So here you have two different categories. You have those that are too young, and this is one of those arguments that we see that are made. Well, there are some women that don't menstruate. Okay, fine. Well, that argument is made here also. And Muhammad says that their waiting period is 3 months. So you have both of those categories. So you can't, according to Ibn Abbas, you cannot make that argument. Now, unless you're going to throw Ibn Abbas under the bus, and you're going to say, well, we can't trust Ibn Abbas. Okay, well, why can't you trust Ibn Abbas? I thought Ibn Abbas is one of your most trusted scholars.
Yeah.
Well, they want to throw him under the bus. I'm sorry?
Wasn't he Muhammad's cousin?
Yeah, he was contemporaneous with Muhammad. He lived at the same time as Muhammad did. He would know what Muhammad believed. Well, I don't know if he would. Well, I don't know. Maybe he was. I don't know how old he was when Muhammad died. But the bottom line is that he would have been close to some of the people that were eyewitnesses to what Muhammad say. That much is for sure. Al-Jalain, same thing. No longer expect to menstruate. Those are the people, the women who have entered menopause. And then he goes on there to confirm, and those who have not yet menstruated, why haven't they menstruated? Because of their young age. So in other words, if you marry a prepubescent girl, that this authorizes this, these guys are commenting on this and saying in the Quran, this is what the Quran says, you can marry a prepubescent girl, consummate that marriage, and then reject that girl, divorce her, turn her out before she's had her first period. I don't know how much more evil you can get than that. I mean, that right there is just absolutely grotesque.
But
this destroys it.
Kafir, listen to me, you Kafirs, okay? Don't you know that all Muslim, that all women, there are women who do not menstruate at all. So yeah, that's what this is talking about.
But these say because they're too young.
Right. This
Well,
it
see,
says okay. No.
Yes.
Hold on. Let the true believer get his point across. Right here, it says now. Jalaline says it's because Tulane are too young, but go back to
yeah,
what
but
Ibn
what does
Abbas
too
says:
young mean?
those who
No,
are too young, along with those
but
because
there are
who don't have it
16-year-old
because they are
girls.
of a young age.
But there's 16-year-olds who don't menstruate. 17-year-olds. I mean, they're young, right? So that's what that means.
Yes, they're
Can I-
young girls still.
Can I read a passage? I'm not sure that you do. You have Sharia in this passage in this
I
area?
do, but that's okay. Go ahead and read it, Paul.
Okay. E10.3. You can find this in Reliance of the Traveler. When a woman who has been made love to performs perfunctory bath, and the male's sperm afterward leaves her vagina, then she must repeat the ghusl if two conditions exist. Here's the first one: that she is not a child, but rather old enough to have sexual gratification. This is Islam condones.
Because they did the deed.
Yeah, Islam condones sex with little children. And this is codified in their law. And if it's codified in their law, anything that would have said against it is now abrogated. But there is nothing ever said against this. And this is why every Islamic country will not make a law. I mean, there's actually I shouldn't say every, but there are some that have tried to make laws against about the age of children
They
getting
have
married.
riots. They have riots.
Yeah.
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 The Muslim women
Indonesia-
can't stand it anymore.
Indonesia attempted to make a law saying I think you had to be 16. I think they were trying a ways back. The problem was this: the imams got together and said we can't make our prophet into a criminal by outlawing it, because if we say that, we say the prophet was a criminal.
Well, then they should do it.
That if that's the reality, that's the reality.
Exactly.
Hey, might I make a suggestion? Next time Paul reads something like that, we play some like cheesy 1970 porno music. You know,
Oh, jeez.
Just saying. Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what that music was. Gosh.
Okay. Can we go on to the next one? Did we do Al Jalalain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
All right, so let's go on to what Ibn Kathir, and Ibn Kathir is the most definitive here. Ibn Kathir says, clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause. So Allah, the Exalted, clarifies that a woman who is menopause, you still have to wait 3 months, and then it is 3 months instead of 3 monthly cycles, based on the ayah, and the same for the young who have the same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation.
Doesn't that make you wonder what's the purpose for the children who haven't reached menstruation? Is this because Islam doesn't understand the concept of reproduction?
Well, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, once a woman doesn't have her period, or if she starts her period, then you know she's not pregnant. And then if she's in menstrual, if she's a young girl, why wait 3 months? She's still a little girl, not dropping an egg and then having a period. Allah doesn't even know the anatomy of a woman. Thank you.
Thank you. It's well said.
I just can't get over the evil behind that. I cannot imagine doing that.
Well, what I was
child.
trying to get at earlier
trying to
is
sanction
that,
it.
Yeah, this whole concept of divorcing a baby. I mean, we're talking about a baby. I mean, it's a prepubescent girl is a baby. I'm sorry. If you divorce a prepubescent girl, you are putting her out on the streets after having raped her. There's nothing short. There's no other word to describe it. And then in the Islamic culture, that child, where's she going to go? She could be 9 years old, out on the streets. Who's she supposed to go home to? What if the guy picked her up and moved to a different country? Where is she supposed to go?
Yeah, Adam Seeker, what do they do to them? Do they make them orphans or something?
Orphans? What do you mean by that?
Okay, what do they do with these little girls that they divorce then?
They go back to their parents,
They go back and their parents take them back?
obviously, and they remarry them to somebody else.
Do
Even
they have to buy
after
them back? Does the
that's what I was
parents have
going
to
to ask.
buy
That's
them
what
What
I
do
was,
you
back?
mean by that? Buy them back? There's nothing called selling.
well, I was thinking that if you don't you have to pay a dowry?
Yeah, you have
So
to
what?
sell those little children first.
So what? So what? Quran says that if you divorce them, do not take back what you actually given them. Same is the case for when the person dies. And Quran actually says
Mhm.
that even if you divorce them, do not take back what you have already given them in form of a dowry. So they don't have to take it back. It's given. They already did what they so supposed to do, what they wanted to do for the money. The money is not too much. The money is nothing. It's negligible. When
See,
the
But you,
Allah
soul,
has a strong,
when the
Allah has a
soul,
strong pimp hand.
okay,
So
Strong pimp
Adam,
hand.
Adam, let me ask you a question. Did you
it's
know
less than an ounce of a gold amount of money that you have to give
did you
as
know
a debt.
girls like this growing up?
Sorry.
Did you know girls like this growing up?
What do you mean by growing up? In 2018, just 4 years ago, there was a case in Pakistan which happened very recently. A 65 years old man married a 13 years old girl in Pakistan. The case came up into the news channels and all, and I think I have shown that in one of my videos in my channel as well. And the public was a bit furious on that. Not public, the news channel, one of the news channel, and they went to that guy and they were like, "You're so old. How dare you marry like this young girl?" And the guy was sitting calmly. He listened to all the accusation. He called his servant. He give them water and all, and he was like, "Our beloved Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married a 9 years old Hazrat Aisha Ummehatul Momineen, the mother of all the believers, at the age of 9 when he was at the age of 53. It's Sunnah. Nothing ever came out in any newspaper or TV ever again about that guy. That was the end of discussion. There
No, but
was
what I'm
nothing more.
saying is
so so
when you were a young man or a boy, were you aware of things like this happening around you?
Exactly.
I, so my
It's a
question,
very
Adam.
in a Muslim countries, this is a very common phenomena to say that as soon as a girl is mature, i.e., having menses, marry her off. It's a
But it
pretty
says
common
you
phenomenon.
can marry them or even divorce them when they don't have their menses yet. So
Uh,
what about that? Have you seen that when you were a little boy?
Not exactly, not in Pakistan.
So my biggest issue again on this is you've got a girl who can be divorced before they've even have the ability to have a child, and divorced women are not looked at as they're looked at as a disappointment. They're looked
Exactly.
at and now you have a prepubescent girl who's now being looked at as a
There are so
disappointment.
many
But
cases in
when I was
Pakistan
in
like that.
Germany, they had girls getting little girls getting off the plane in Berlin. All right, they had these flowery hijabs, and they were being given roses after they got off, red roses when they got off the plane, and they were not being. There was no adults with them when they got off that plane, and they were being met by an adult, and they looked like child brides being brought into Berlin. So if that's the case, when we're talking, I don't think there was anybody older than 10 or 12 at the most. And if that's the case, so you imagine you are a 10 to 12-year-old bride in Germany. I mean,
Paul, you need to
now they
understand one.
divorce them.
Paul, you need to understand something. With the passage of time, Muslims in the Muslim majority countries stopped certain things because of the Western moralities. Let me just put it this way. Uh, Even though in Pakistan, even now, they marry off a girl when she is really young, like 1 or 2 years old, but they do not give her off to the guy. Means she would not live in her home, just like Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 6, but did not take her till the age of 9 for sex. So even in Pakistan, you would do similar acts in India, Pakistan, and many other Muslim countries. You would marry off your daughter at a very early age, 2, 3 years, even when she was born, because one of the uncle will say, hey, this daughter is mine, my son is 5 years old, 6 years old, you have a daughter now, when she grows up we are going to marry these two kids together. So she will be married off to that kid at the time of birth, as soon as she came out of the mother's womb. Now the problem with this scenario is she is married off. Now there is an honor over there in the families. Now if she wants to marry somebody else, she cannot, because the honor comes into play here. If the guy wants to marry somebody off, the honor comes into play. So the guy will have to marry this girl. Now this guy does not love her. Now this guy will going to marry somebody else as well. Two or three or four, because Islam allows that. Now you have a broken family. This guy will never divorce her because she is a girl from the family, yet he will not keep her as a wife and give her all the kinds of issues. And these are very common things that happen in Pakistan. Very, very common.
And this, and the point I made earlier about the offending and Western sensibilities, as the world becomes smaller, we become more interconnected, and we start associating with one another much more frequently, and cultures start interacting with one another. When when we start hearing about these things still going on today, it repulses us. And I'm not saying that I would never say that all Muslims feel this way. And as a matter of fact, we've had several of them on the show that have made, I don't say excuses, but have said that they believe that is wrong, and they believe that is wrong not because, or they
Then
believe it's
Muhammad
wrong
is wrong,
because
brother.
they wouldn't do it themselves because they know it's morally wrong, but they believe that the hadith describing it is wrong.
That's not possible, no? If you take this
I'm just telling you
aspect
what
that
they
hadith
said.
is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the answer is, if you think that hadith is wrong, then Quran is the most da'if hadith. You need to understand that. No,
The
no,
Quran
very
is
simple.
hadith,
No,
the
no, very
da'if.
simple. You need to understand that.
Yeah, I get
Uh,
that.
because because Quran itself in Quran says that Quran is hadith. If you open Quran chapter number 39, ayah number 23, you will see that it says that Quran is the hadith from Allah, right? Allahu nazala ahsan al hadith kitaban mutashabiha. So Quran chapter number 39 verse number 23, you will not find the word hadith in any of the translation, but in the Arabic it says hadith, ahsan al hadith. Quran is a collection of the ahsan hadith of Allah. The basic hadith sciences says that you need to have the chain of narrators. You do not have the chain of narrator of any of the verses of the Quran except for few, right? You might find the chain of narrator for the narration for the Ikra Bismi Rabbika Allazi Khalaqa, Surah Khalaq, for the first two verses. You might be able to find some chain of narration for Alam Sharif, the first surah of the Quran in the in the current order of Quran. But 99% of the Quran does not have a single chain of narration. Now, this Quran is a Ahsan Hadith. Ahsan Hadith means the best hadith. You know, Hassan hadith. This is what Islam is saying. Hassan means good. So this Quran is a good hadith. Imagine if you will if you will not accept a hadith, the Sahih hadith, you will not accept the narrative how Quran was collected. If you will not accept the narrative how Quran was collected, Quran is the most daif book in the history of daif
Yeah,
Islamic
that makes
books,
sense. Yeah, correlating the two.
right?
Yeah, because when we said that the Hassan rating, according to Ascalani, is 85 to
We'll
ninety
go
nine
there.
percent reliable.
We'll
What's
go
that?
there
Yeah.
there. We'll go there later because this is a classification. I'm not comparing the Hasan hadith with the word Hasan in Quran.
Oh, you're not.
The Hasan
Okay.
has a meaning. It has a meaning itself. In Arabic, it means good, right?
Oh, I
So
see what you're saying. Okay. All right. Yeah. All
I'm
right.
just saying that if you will not, because there is no chain of narration for the Quranic verses. That's why I'm saying it becomes rather fabricated. Now, coming back to the original subject, if you do not accept the hadith narratives, then you can't even offer prayers. The 5 time most
Mhm.
compulsory prayers are in the Sira literature, Sunnah literature, which comes through the hadiths, right? So if you can't even offer prayer, you don't even know how many rakat means how many qiyams you have to do per salah, per prayer. So you have nothing if you reject a hadith. So if you will actually see a Quranist, a pure Quranist, he will not offer prayer as well. He will not go to the mosque as well because he cannot. He has no way to run. And these kind of pure Quranists are less than 0.5% in this world. So unless you are a pure
How many? Say
Quranist,
that again. How many percent? Quran only?
less than 0.5% in the world.
Okay. All right. So
0.5
one out of 200.
million, 1 out of 2 billion, right? Rather, half out of 2 billion of the total Muslim population. Anyhow, so I don't know. Sorry, that's
No, I see. Okay, I just said
you
it's one out of
get
every
my math is
200, but
wrong
then
over here. Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be okay.
I'm sorry
The
about
number
that.
you put up.
So
No,
you
that's
do
right.
the numbers later. But Bhargav.
Hey, Adam, I did want to ask you a question before you moved on. Why don't you turn on your camera?
Because Murtad.
You're a
I
Murtad.
have death threats more than any of you, all of you combined.
Well, I believe that. Yeah, because you're an apostate. Would you stop, John? My goodness. Okay, because we had a little discussion at the beginning of the show why somebody won't turn his camera on, and
And
John
secondly,
is,
I don't.
and some of us we don't want them to turn their camera on in this case too. That's okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Adam.
because I have another problem with the Allah basically that Allah is behind the veil as well. So I'm behind the veil. So a lot of people says you are a coward. I was like I'm not as coward as Allah Himself. So I even have a voice. Allah doesn't even have a voice, and Allah is behind the veil. So ask your Allah to show His face first before you ask me to show my face. But anyhow, I receive that threats every single day. Even today, I went to a channel where I received that threat, and that threat was not for me; it was for my family. This like the day we'll find out who you are, you will see what we will do to your
Now,
family.
do they send
So
you emails saying we know who you are, we know where you live?
they do all these kind of shit.
Yeah. Okay. So
They do
next
it
time Rad
live.
turns his camera on, I want to see Rad in a full burqa. That's
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna tell the Charles dude maybe he should go do the trans thing. You know, I mean, he seriously needs help. So I'm just saying, dude, maybe you should look
that's
into
the
it.
kind
The
of help he
VA
does
will
need.
pay for it now. The VA will pay for it now. So you know, just
Okay.
saying.
Okay, what topic's next?
So
Okay,
anyhow, coming back to the same point, the word mafakheza was created for specific people, specific females, which were pretty young, because they were marrying a little older people and they cannot penetrate their private part. So there was a particular term called mafakheza that was created that if you cannot do that, you can actually take your private part and put it in between the thighs of a female girl and then rub it off so until you comes out. So that is called mafakheza. And even Muhammad was doing that with Hazrat Aisha when she gets into menstruation. So when she was in menstruation, Muhammad would take his private part, ask her to wear a small panty, and then use his private part between the thighs of Aisha. This is Sahih Bukhari as well.
What is the source for that? I have looked for the source of that, and the only thing I find is a fatwa.
Okay. Let me just.
You don't have to produce it right now. I was just wondering if you knew off the top of your head, like was it a hadith? Was it for part of? It wasn't part of the serum.
It is. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay, you got 58 seconds. 56.
It's
again. Yes.
Well, you know what's
says
interesting.
about-
Okay, well, you know what's interesting. Aisha testifies that when she was young, at the marriage, her marriage was actually postponed, or the consummation of the marriage was actually postponed because all her hair fell out.
Yes.
Okay, she got sick and all her hair fell out. And if you look up literature on why little girls and even boys lose their hair, it's because of severe stress and trauma. So something was like affecting her emotionally,
brother.
mentally, which would account for, and actually it does happen in molested children. They will, because they repulsed by it, they'll lose all their hair. Yeah.
And here's another little tidbit that a lot of folks didn't realize too. The the attacks that Muhammad would have are very much like what we see in epileptics today. If you go and read up on
his would be
attacks,
temporal lobe seizures. That's
Yeah.
what his are specifically temporal lobe seizures.
Exactly.
And this is, hey, I have epilepsy. I can tell you that. I mean, I can tell you it's exactly what it is.
Yep.
What his are.
That's what he had, and of course, people back then didn't realize what was going on, so they thought he, had demons in him or whatever, or
Well,
that
they
this
explain
is
even. I mean, he talks about there's certain things he describes when he's having these episodes. I mean, when he wakes up, he has, his incompleteness, his incoherence, and his, I would say, fantasy land experiences. They're hand in hand with temporal lobe seizures.
yeah. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Can you
Adam,
show
what were
my
you going to say
screen?
now?
Yeah, can you show my screen?
No. If I show you screen, you know what's going to happen
What's gonna
is
happen?
I'm going to lag. I'm afraid. No, I got a new computer. Wait a second. I ain't going to
Perfect.
lag. Look at that. Ooh,
So this
woohoo! I
is
showed your screen and it didn't lag.
awesome. This is
Okay.
Sahih Bukhari Hadith 299, 303 The Prophet and I used to take bath from a single pot while we were in Janab, means when we are in menstruation. During the menses, he used to order me to put other, like a panty, and he used to fondle me. The English word here says fondle me. In the Arabic, it doesn't say fondle. In the Arabic, it says fayabashirni, right? Which actually means having sex. Even if you read in Urdu, which is my native language, it says mabasharat. The word mabasharat means eject, till you ejaculate. When you go to the shara of this hadith, which in Imam Hajar Asqalani, you will see that he actually uses this hadith with mafakhaza, and for that you will have to go to uh, the Arabic of al mafakhaza. There you go. This is mafakhaza. Can you do it? The question is, can you do mafakhaza qabla al-aqd? Means, can you do the mafakhaza before you are actually, taken it and taken at home and all that kind of stuff? And here they actually talk about that uh, Allah has said don't do sex with the females until you actually take her into nikah and all. But they actually go in and they actually talk about that Aisha was actually engaged in mufakhaza with Muhammad as well. Let me just find if I find an English
Is
version
that
of
the
it. Hold on.
fatwa? Because
Let
I think
me
the
let me
fatwa
do.
was
There's
a
another one.
Shia document, to be
Meaning of
honest with you.
mufakhaza. No, this is Sunni.
Hold
This
on,
is
hold on. I'm
this
going to
No,
write
it's
that
Tamimi.
Sunni.
word
That
down. Hold on.
There you
Scroll
go.
back up. Scroll back up. I want to write that word
Wait,
down.
wait this one. The term mafakhaza means having foreplay with the wife in between the thighs. It is reported in one of the narrations that when Prophet wanted to enjoy one of his wives who was in menstruation, he would put a piece of cloth on her vagina, i.e., cover it, and then do the mafakhaza. In the author of Al-Fadil Al-Qadir interpreted the expression if they wanted to enjoy to means of having all permissible foreplay, means until you ejaculate, but avoiding the vagina because she is in menses, so you will rub it like the thighs, mafakisa. This is in English. I think this is more appropriate for the people. I'm going to put it in the private chat for you. There you go, my friend. It's not in Arabic. So Muhammad, like this hadith that I showed you of the Bukhari 299, it actually, if you go to the Arabic tafsir, not the tafsir, the shara of Imam Hajar Asqalani, he actually says that this is what happened. Here in this fatwa, they did not explicitly use the word Aisha, but rather gave you an Ibn Majah hadith and told you that whenever Muhammad, so now it's generic, it's not just with Aisha, but with any other female wives that Muhammad had, that Muhammad used to do these kind of things, even though that he had 11 wives. So mostly he would do that with Aisha because he would not let her go even at the time of menses. This is the word mafakhaza, my friend. There you go.
Okay. All right. So I have messed up here. Oh wait, here. Nope. Hold on. Where is it? There. Okay. Whew. I opened your link, but then it opened up the whole page, and I couldn't figure out how to minimize it. Okay. So this mufakada is the stein thing.
Mafakhaza.
I'm going to butcher the word. If you could explain it to me 100 times, I'm still going to mess it up. But this fatwa is issued by who again?
This is a Sunni website. This is islamweb.net, very standard Sunni website, brother.
Okay. It's Sunni
Right?
website.
Yes, but
I
it's
think
not
it's a Muslim Brotherhood site, isn't it?
yes. And this has nothing to do with Shia Islam. We are talking about Sunan ibn Majah, Sunan Sahih
Hmm.
Bukhari.
Yeah.
These are not Shia terminologies at all. They don't even accept these Kutub Sitta as well, anyways.
Okay,
right? So
so
I'm giving you the Sunni narratives, not the Shia narratives, my friend.
okay, I want to hit on two more topics or two more sources before we go, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Adam. I really do. You're always a wealth of knowledge, and you're always welcome. You're always welcome here, even if you don't show your face on camera.
Thank you so
We're
very
not
much,
we're not
brother.
gonna hold that against you.
Clearly, he's another pedophile. He's
Uh,
probably already in prison. Just saying.
He's probably in jail. We don't know. I mean, maybe that's why he doesn't come to the show as often
That's why I
anymore.
left Islam, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we went to. Did we do Ibn Kathir? We did, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so let's go
Every
to.
single source, Tibri, Qurtubi, Ibn Kathir, Siratun Nabi, Tafsir, every single Tafsir Dur Mansur, Tafsir Bezuwi, every single source actually says that here it is talking about young girls who have not reached the age of puberty. Every single, you don't even have to read all of them. Every single one of them says that.
Yeah, and the three sources that I go through. I mean, I'm writing this book, and the three sources that I use for the commentary of Abbas, Jalalain, and Kathir. And if you can't trust them, then okay.
I can
Well,
give you I'll send you the Qurtubi as well, and I'll send you Tibri as well, and I'll send you Imam Jalaluddin as-Sayyuti, and I'll send you Dur Mansur as well.
oh my
So add
gosh,
all of them.
how am I supposed to keep up with all of that? You think I'm a scholar? Okay.
Every single source says that.
Well, and I agree, because even the ones that are on that website, I go to Quran.
So what you have to do is you have to come to the very latest source, which actually denies that, rather says, "Oh, these are the one." So in the 19th century, there was a Islamic scholar from Pakistan. This is the guy who actually first invented this idea because he was so disgusted by this ayah.
Mhm.
This is Tafhimul Quran, which was written by Sayyid Maulana Madudi, and Maruful Quran, who actually takes from the Madudi's reference, Mufti Muhammad Shafi. These are the two who actually goes into this, like literally 19th century scholars, because now things are different. So they kind of give you this kind of an argument
Mhm.
that no, they menses, some women do not go into menses and all that yada yada yada. So these are very very latest people who would do such a thing because they are so disgusted by
So isn't
this
Malduti like the beginning of the 20th century, or the 20th century, like
1920s, I
19,
believe.
yeah, okay, yeah,
19.
yeah, and I think this is where they start, like you said. I think they start these modern scholars start realizing that, hey, wait a second, this really is disgusting behavior.
No, Maduti's actually before 1920s. He's like late 18. Yeah, because Hassan al-Banna liked him.
Well, he's
Yeah, it's around that
he's
time.
more recent than Kathir, Jalalain, and Ibn Abbas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you go to the golden era of Islam, everyone will actually says these are young girls who have not yet reached the age of puberty,
right.
right? So this is
Yeah.
the golden period of Islam ends at around Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. That's the basically end of it. That's where things they're like, okay, now gotta change some narratives. That's where Islam started to change narrative. Before them, things were almost similar no matter which tafsir you will read.
Well, Madudi actually glorifies it, saying it's a good thing that you marry a girl at 9 years old.
Yes,
Yes,
nine, but
yeah,
not
no, yeah,
before nine. Nine,
yeah,
but not before nine.
right.
See,
No, he says it's a good thing because you keep her from being a hussy.
yes.
Working the streets of Cairo. No,
Okay,
seriously, that's
let's
his
get
argument.
let's
Yeah.
move on to these last two sources that I want to go to before we run out of time here, because we're coming down to like 8 minutes left. Okay, so the next one, of course, is the Sharia that Paul had mentioned from the Reliance of the Traveler. We find in Division N 2.3, it says that neither sunnah nor non-unlawful innovation means the divorce of a wife who is prepubescent, postmenopausal, pregnant, or one of whom has yet had sexual intercourse. So it defines a woman. You have postmenopausal, pregnant, but it also says prepubescent, and it's talking about, in this case, this is talking about divorce. So you can divorce a prepubescent girl. Well, if you're divorcing a prepubescent girl, that means that you're marrying a prepubescent girl. And it also goes on to say in section 9.2 the same division, waiting period is obligatory for a woman divorced after intercourse, whether the husband and wife are prepubescent, have reached puberty, or has the other has not. So again, note, it says even in the Sharia, even in Islamic law, it says that you can marry and divorce prepubescent little girls. And this is what is so repugnant. It's not only in the Quran, it's in the Hadith, it's in the Sirah literature, and it's also in the Sharia. And so if anybody tries to tell you, hey, look, that's not true, it's simply ridiculous. And here are a couple of facts. And I got this from a website called Girls Not Brides. It says 90% of the births to adolescents take place within the context of marriage. Complications, listen to this statistic here. Complications arising from pregnancy and childbirth are among the leading causes of death in girls ages 15 to 19. Girls who marry before age 15 are 50% more likely to suffer from an intimate partner violence than those who marry later. So in other words, if you get married at a younger age, you are more likely to be abused by that husband, 50% more likely to be abused by that husband than if you were when you got married later. And then it goes on to talk about FGM, and we're not going to get into that. But when we look at the number of girls, little girls that are mutilated in Sudan and Somalia, it's up over half of them. And these other ones, these are predominantly Islamic countries where
Brother,
this
may I
is
pause
going
you over
on.
here because you actually missed a very important point. In the Sharia Islamia, there is another very disgusting point. This is section M3.13 of the Sharia Islamia of Reliance of Travel that we are showing. M3.13 actually says that if she is not reached the age of puberty, her father can marry her off. That's the most important point because
What's
Aisha,
the number on that, Adam, again?
M3.13. Her father can marry her off. Like just like Aisha, she never actually had to say yes, yes, yes 3 times to marry Muhammad. Her father married her off. Just like that, section M3.13 says whenever the bride is a virgin, the father or the father's father marry her to somebody without her permission. Although it is recommended to ask her permission, but not necessary. If she has reached the age of puberty, a virgin silence is considered as the permission. So then you have to ask her, but even if she does not say yes and she is silent because of the honor or anything, still it means it is a yes. As for the known virgin, only a known virgin who has been pre-married to somebody and have been divorced, she is the one who has to vocally say yes. Section M3.13 of Sharia Manual Reliance of Traveler. So you need to be very careful. These are very, very important things because you can marry off a 5 years old girl because the father deemed good to marry her off at the age of 5.
Isn't there a hadith that says silence is consent?
That's correct.
Something
Yeah,
like
well,
Hazrat
yes, there is.
Aisha has said that her silence, the silence of a virgin means yes. But but before that it says when she is a virgin and prepubescent, you don't even have to ask her. That's what I'm saying. That's where I am putting my emphasis. I'm just saying the whole thing. I just read the whole thing so that nobody will say, hey, we missed some part.
well,
Before puberty, you don't even have to ask her permission because
in a
she is
lot of
too young.
cultures, you will find things that are, and I just don't want to, universally condemn Islam and saying that, this is unique to Islam, because there are other cultures out there that do practice the same thing. However, they don't do it in the 21st century. And that's the biggest difference. You'll know the fruit of a religious practice or a cultural practice by what happens within that culture itself. And when you are still today, and like if you saw that video that I play at the beginning of the show, it shows that 65-year-old man is marrying a 9-year-old girl in Afghanistan, and that is a film clip from CNN that was taken this past, I think it's this past October, or it may have been last summer. I can't remember what it was, but the dad essentially married this girl off to this old scumbag because he wanted the man to pay him a fee for her. He sold her or something. I can't remember what exactly it was, but he marries this girl at that young of age. It's still going on today. Okay, one more slide. I think I got one more slide.
Because Islam is still here.
Well, let me tell you something. You can actually divorce a prepubescent girl, right? But a pubescent boy cannot divorce a girl. Do you understand what I'm saying? Please try to understand what I'm saying.
The wife
According,
cannot divorce the husband. Is that what you're
no, no,
saying?
no, 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 no. The other way around.
So little
Is you,
boy.
you can actually marry little boys as well, right? So we are sticking to the girls. Let's look at the boys as well. I'm a boy. I need to talk about boys as well. Okay. In the Sharia manual M1.1, if you read, who can divorce when he can divorce? In that section, there is a specific clause number C. He has to reach the age of puberty. So if you marry off a kid of age 5 or 4 or 6 or 7 to another girl of whatever age, whatever age it is, the boy cannot even divorce the girl until he has reached the age of puberty. So the boys, it has to start ejaculating before he can divorce the girl. On the flip side, a baby girl can be divorced whether she has reached the age of puberty or not.
Yeah.
Here's the hadith that backed up what you were saying earlier. I'm sorry, Adam. Jami al-Tirmidhi, 1107. Abu Hurairah narrated that the Prophet said a matron should not be given in marriage until she is consulted, and a virgin should not be given in marriage until her permission is sought, and her silence is her permission.
Yeah, there is a hadith from Aisha as well in Sahih Muslim. So
Yeah.
yes. Now you said M1.1, which talks about a husband divorcing, he has to reach the age of puberty. What about like we were already talking about the females, right? So in the section N9.2 it says a waiting period is obligatory for a woman divorced after intercourse, whether the husband and the wife are prepubescent, have reached the puberty, or one has the other has not. Intercourse means coupling. This is M9.2. So now here is the problem. A female can be divorced whether she has reached the age of puberty or not, because that is Quran 65:4.
Yes.
So, but on the flip side, a husband cannot give a divorce until he has reached the age of puberty. Why is that?
Say it again. Husband cannot be given divorce until he
Husband
reaches the age.
cannot give divorce until he has reached the age of puberty, whereas a wife can be given divorce even if she has not reached the age of puberty.
Well, it's the unequitable treatment between the two genders that's almost
Well,
universally
I think he's
applied.
saying in this case, it's not the woman has more rights. Is what it sounds like. Is that
No,
correct?
it's not about rights. Woman cannot even divorce. You need to understand that.
Yeah. Okay.
Woman can only ask for divorce. She can ask for
After they
khula.
can have
She
sex.
can
Yeah.
request for khula. She cannot even divorce. Full stop. So woman does not even have a right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just finish this thing off, and why this matters, here in 2023. If you go to website Save the Children, they provide some pretty stark statistics here. Down here, the title of what really opened my eyes is child marriage kills more than 60 girls a day. It says more than 22,000 girls a year are dying from pregnancy and childbirth resulting from child marriage. So when we start lamenting the fact that people are following the sunnah of Muhammad and marrying these young girls, even if they are pubescent, meaning that they are menstruating, these girls are still suffering and dying because of the childbirth and the damage to their internal organs and body that it does to try to bear these children. And the highest rate of this is in West Central Africa, where nearly half, 9,600, all estimated child marriage related deaths globally, or 26 deaths a day. South Asia sees 2,000 child marriage-related deaths every year, which is like 6 every day. So when we start looking at what this child marriage does, it's just absolutely horrendous. And I want to show you. I want to close out with this clip from what's that guy's name? Sheikh Yasser Qadi. You guys remember Yasser Qadi?
Well done.
Okay,
Holes in the narrative.
Yeah, let me play the
Yeah,
end of
she
this.
was 9. Get over it.
Yeah, here we have
brother,
Ibn Farouk commenting on what what's
if
his
you if you have time, I would like to show you what type of things can be possible when you actually have a prepubescent girl.
can we do a separate show on that? Because I've seen, we've had Lloyd DeJong on here describing a lot of that. Can we do a separate show on that, Adam?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, let's do a separate show on that, because I think I know where you're going with that. Okay, let's listen to Sheikh Yasser Qadi.
No voice.
Can you hear it?
No voice.
No sound.
No
I think you
sound.
forgot to click this. I think you forgot to click the sound check.
All right, would you stop already? Okay, okay, where am I? I gotta stop. I have to stop sharing, don't I?
Yes.
Remove. Stop screen. There we go. All right, so I got to bring this back. Present. It's almost like I've had to do this before.
Course. There should be a course. Don't forget to push the stupid checkbox for
Yeah.
sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
I
would
got
think
you.
that the programmers would already have that fixed.
Yeah.
Programmed in.
That
That's
cut
what I
into their
mean.
profit. That cut in their profit margins. Okay, here we
All
go.
Muslims don't apologize
Can you hear that?
Yes, continue.
Yes, we can
for
hear
the truth and don't distort the truth. There are Muslims that try to deny this. Oh, he didn't marry Aisha as a young girl. Ya akhi, look, that's not the way forward. We don't lie for the sake of our religion. Astaghfirullah. We're not going to cover up the truth if people find it embarrassing. This is the reality. Deal with it.
To be honest, mutawatir. To be honest, it's mutawatir evidence. Her saying, I was 9 years old.
Our Prophet ﷺ married a young girl.
And we are proud of this.
Oh.
Yeah, that's mutawatir evidence.
All right, yeah, we're proud of that. Yeah, I can't stand that
Mutawatir.
guy.
It's mutawatir.
Means more than 4 chain of more than 4 different chains. Actually,
Yeah, but you know what it sounds like, right?
No, we are not talking about muta.
Yeah,
Muta, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one alone for tonight.
Don't forget
Okay.
to close.
So many
Don't
weird
forget to
words
close.
in Islam, man. So many weird words in Islam.
All right.
Don't forget to do the close. Don't forget to do. We get a double dose of Sheikh Yasser Qadi. Don't forget to.
What am I closing with?
The holes in the narrative.
The holes in the narrative. I don't have that.
Yeah, you do. You should have it uploaded, dude. Don't you? Yeah, you played it last week.
Do I?
Yeah, you played it
Holes.
last week.
Oh, this one?
Advanced student and specialist. Standard narrative holds.
That's all, folks.
So bad.
All right.
You talked me into it. And Connie, is Connie still here?
Would you like to show this video that I just shared about the
Um,
imams talking in a live TV?
How long is it?
كلام صحيح البخاري. نعم. كلام الفتح، كلام الحافظ في الفتح، كل ده بيقول انه الاتفاق على انه الكلام هنا على الصغيرة التي لم تبلغ الحيض بعد، يجوز تزويجها وإن لم يحدث وفاق تطليقها، والشرع قال هذا فعدتها كذا. مين اللي قال الكلام ده زي ما بقول لحضرتك كده؟ ولا لم يحدث؟
الصغيرة، يعني الصغيرة اللي هي لم تبلغ الحيض يجوز.
نعم.
يجوز
الكلام
تزويجها.
طبعا الكلام ليس كلامي، انما الكلام على ايه؟
يعني تبقى مثلا، يعني مثلا كم سنة؟ يعني 10 سنين، 9 سنين، 8 سنين.
لم يتحدث سن. الحقيقة لم يتحدث سن للزواج. لا الشريعة الإسلامية كلها. هات لي حد يقول لي اتحدد سن بيوم، بسنه ب 10 15 ب 20.
ده انت على كده بقى، ده انت ممكن وهي لسه طفله بقى شهر او شهرين بقى،
ان شاء الله حتى يوم.
Even
Hey,
if she went old.
Even if she's one day.
Yep.
good Lord.
Man.
Adam, can you post a link to that in the chat?
There is no link.
That
It's
is
download PDF.
that's quite a statement. I mean, that's important, and I'm glad you put that at the end. No matter what, I mean, you get people who will call you haters and stuff like this. It's not true. It's not true. But it's really cool. I mean, we can cite all their scriptures, but when you find people today saying the exact same things and they're calling us haters, yeah.
Exactly. The Western culture is different. So when they realize they come over here, they actually talk with lies and deception and deceit, because these are the Islamic
Yes.
doctrine. The Islamic doctrine of Hayal and Adbul Dajjal are two very basic predominant doctrines which were established based on Islamic narratives from Muhammad and his Sirah Nabi, where you can actually do that if you are trying to make a person come to the saving knowledge of Quran and Muhammad, right? So they can actually lie to bring you in it. So I was doing a live stream the other day, on the doctrine of lying, which every non-Muslim should know about Muslims.
I think it's extremely important that non-Muslims know that today. It's one of the big things I talk about.
Oh, this is
Eric.
okay.
Are you? I'm sorry.
No, I got to get going to church, or
All
I'm
right.
gonna get excommunicated, I think. But the reason why we did this show today, of course, is because of what what happened with our brother Rad. But more importantly, if you do talk to Muslims about this, you will get all kinds of different excuses for it. And we've discussed some of the duplicity in the application of 65:4, the denial of the Hadith, the Sirah, or even what is misinterpretation of what we find in Reliance the Traveler. Don't be deceived. This is an evil practice, and it needs to be exposed for what it is. And Muslims have a blind spot for this, and they will deny it. And then, as I think, as Adams pointed out, there are people that leave Islam because of this. And I think the more that we talk about it, not out of a hatred towards the individual Muslim himself or herself, but so that they know exactly, because a lot of them aren't taught this, or at least not taught them in the light in which we discussed it today. I think the better off all of us are going to be. Okay, we're going to close it out tonight, guys. Thank you so much for coming and spending your afternoon with us. And if you got service at 6 o'clock tonight, you're late, like I
How
am.
come you
God
have a
bless you.
service at so late?
Because I'm a Baptist. That's why.
They have Saturday. A lot of churches have Sunday night services as well. I had a
We
church
have
that did
Wednesday
that
night
too.
service. If I was a good Lutheran boy,
Wednesday
we
night.
wouldn't be going to church. I might go back to being a Lutheran. I wouldn't go to church on
My
Sunday
church
nights, but-
doesn't do Sunday nights. We do Wednesday nights.
All right. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next week.
God
on the Cross
bless.
and the Crescent.
God bless everybody.